Dangerously Incompetent's first impressions of Armoured Warfare. I've been playing for a couple of weeks now, and so I feel totally qualified to tell you all about Armoured Warfare. Well, not totally qualified. The vehicle tiers go up to 10, and I'm only up to tier 6. But anyway, I know enough to say whether it's a good game or not. Firstly, they've spelt their own name wrong. Armoured has got a U in it. Secondly, their nicknames are too short, only 15 characters. So instead of dangerously incompetent gracing the battlefields, it's dangerously inco. Yeah. Bah, humbug, that's what I say to that. Throughout the review, I mostly compare this game to World of Tanks. If you don't know what World of Tanks is, I apologise, but World of Tanks is the market leader, and this game is pretty much the same format. You're on a tank, other players are in tanks. You go do what tanks do best and shoot stuff. It very much feels like a bunch of Americans got together and said, we can do much better than those commie swine. Let's write our own World of Tanks and make things different, do things better. Did they do things better? Well, I'll tell you at the end of the review. The difference is between Armoured Warfare and World of Tanks, you get modern tanks, starting from World War II sort of tanks. Here we go. All the way up to modern tanks, present day stuff. Well, that's a couple of decades out of date, but that's only tier 6. There's tier 10s, so all the way up to present day. So you got more variety, a bit more variety in the vehicles, and you also get wheeled vehicles. That's right, learn to oversteer in crazy fast wheeled vehicles. And driving these things is a challenge after you've got used to, once you're used to tracked vehicles, because they just have to hit a bump and they're spinning all over the place, out of control. It's crazy. Most of the time you'll be playing, well, I think you'll be playing player versus player. That's the traditional 15 vehicles aside, players on both sides. You start on opposite ends of the map. You have at each other until one side captures the base or bases or kills all the enemy team. Standard fare. But you also get this, players versus environment or enemies or whatever you want to call it. And this is this difference. You get only 5 players, and you're on a restricted map, very small, constricted rather than restricted, constricted map. And then the enemy come at you in waves, and they're of easy, medium or hard difficulty waves. It's like quests for tanks, which is a nice diversion to start with, but there's only a dozen or so missions, and once I've done a quest once, I don't really want to do it again, so I get bored of them very quickly. Some people don't. Some people like to do them again and again and again, try and better their score each time, but learning where the enemy tanks spawn and when they spawn is of no interest to me, so I get bored. They're nice to start with, but I got bored with them. They're also useful when you're doing stock grind, because your tanks start out, when you first buy them, they're stock, and then through reputation earned in battles you can improve them, upgrade them. And you don't want to play a stock tank when you're going against other players, but against bots it's not so much of an issue. So there is that, so I do them, but I don't really enjoy them anymore. I've done them all. Take note, Obsidian, more quests, more different maps. Release an editor, let the players do the hard work and come up with the quests, or missions, sorry. Call them missions, not quests. But the real spoiler on the PvE at the moment is that enemy vehicles spawn. They teleport into their spawn point, and that spawn point can be right in front of your eyes, which kind of breaks the immersion a bit when you see when a 80-ton monstrosity suddenly appears in front of you. It didn't sort of pop out from behind a building or behind a bush or come over the hill. No, it just teleported in right in front of your eyes. Or even worse, teleports in on top of its deceased predecessor, who you just killed. That was funny. It happens quite often. But rarer, sometimes the enemies spawn in underneath their dead predecessor. That was funny. He just got crushed to death. Anywho, that's enough about PvE. Tech trees. Same mechanism as welder tanks. You buy it, you unlock a tank. Oh, no. Dealers first. There's a tech tree. They don't split very often, but sometimes do. But each of the lines that you start off with is standard. You can just buy them. Then you play the tier 1 and unlock the tier 2. But then the other lines, you've got to do something to unlock them. Do 8,000 odd damage to enemy vehicles while your vehicle's health is greater than 50% with Sophie Wolfie's vehicles. So you've got to play these a while before you unlock this. Or the latest tech tree, Chinese, you've got to do loads of damage while you're close to a friendly vehicle in battles, in PvP or PvE, whichever you fancy, and then you can start buying them and playing them. You've got the various different vehicle types. You have armoured fighting vehicles. They're equivalent to lights. They do reconnaissance. They do hiding and spotting and designating. Oh, that's another nice touch. The designation button. They get the ability to designate targets. You hover your reticule over the enemy tank for some seconds, press the E button, hold it down, and they get designated. When they're designated, they can't hide. No matter where they go, they get seen for about 15 seconds. And also, anyone who shoots it while it's designated does a bit more damage, and you get a load more XP. So remember to press that E button when you're driving these things. Then there's light tanks. Where's the light tanks? I don't seem to have any. There's a diamond. Light tank. There we go. Light tanks. Well, these are the medium tanks. They're all about the manoeuvrability and the gun. Not enough to punch through the frontal armour sometimes, but plenty to shoot people in the sides and do loads of damage. Main battle tanks. These are the heavies. Loads of armour, big gun. Not very manoeuvrable. And what many people love to hate, artillery. There's a significant difference for artillery in Armoured Warfare as opposed to welder tanks. When you fire this big old gun of yours, you get seen. Everybody, that's everybody on the enemy team, as well as your own team know where you are on the minimap anyway. Everybody sees where you are. You become visible for 5 odd seconds. Which means the enemy artillery tends to shoot you at this point. It means you can't sit in the same secluded bush and blam away until your position is overrun without being seen. So people don't get to curse you so much. They know where you are. Once you've fired, they know where you are, so they know where they can hide from you, and anyone who's got line of sight or can arc their artillery shells at you gets to shoot at you. So it's shoot and scoot with these things, which tends to limit their effectiveness in battle, but they're still useful. So I think they got their artillery right, which is nice. Tick trees, upgrades. Oh no, armour. Starting vehicles, or low tier vehicles at any rate, tend to be the post-war stuff. It is just rolled steel armour or aluminium in case of lighter vehicles. Anyway, just plain old armour. And you get armour piercing and high explosive ammunition. But as you go up the tiers and you come to more modern vehicles, you get the other types of armour. You get some reactive armour. Is this reactive armour? Oh, I forget. Or just extra bits of armour. You get reactive armour, you get cage armour, and the different armours are more or less effective against different weapon ammunition types. So you got well, not hundreds, but a dozen different armour types. You got armour piercing, discarding sabot, fin stabilised, high explosive incendiary, squash heads, hesh, all sorts. And woohoo, what's this? Guided missiles. Yay! Fly guided missiles around buildings, loop them over hills. Well, not quite. To fire these things, you've got to be stationary for a few seconds, and then you fire them, which kind of blows your camouflage a bit until you get spotted, and then you've got to sit still for all the time you're guiding it in flight towards the enemy vehicles. You can bend it around vehicles or obstacles if you're careful, but it's a bit tricky. But the good thing about these things is they pack a lot of punch. Look at the penetration on that. 668 millimeters of penetration. Well, that's quite a lot, especially when you compare it with this 78 millimeters of penetration with its autocannon. So they add another dimension, quite an interesting, fun dimension. It's a high price you pay to use them, but they can do things your normal guns can't, and they take a long time to load. That's the other thing about them. So all in all, the ammunition and the armour types make for a more varied game, but not at the start. It's nice and simple at the start. This varied game comes in sort of tier 5 and above. It's a nice way of doing it. Upgrades. Upgrade path. Start up when you first unlock your vehicle and buy it. You unlock it for reputation or experience, and then you buy it with currency. Then you get the stock vehicle. Starts out with its stock, dunk 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 dunk, and as you battle with the vehicle, you can spend the reputation you earn on that vehicle, or your global reputation, which you get a little bit of every battle, or you can spend gold to convert your free to get. You can get out of stock by spending real world cash real quick, but quite a lot of it, or you can grind your way through. I tend to grind my way through in the missions because I'm a cheap bastard, and then once I've got it upgraded, then I go into PvP because you don't want to go against other players when you're stock. But you get all sorts of things. You get better armour, better guns, better weapons, better engines, blah blah blah, extra bits. And then here's the interesting bit. Well, there's three interesting bits. Slots. So you usually start with at least one retrofit slot, and then you can unlock more. And you can fit retrofit equipment, but each individual bit of retrofit equipment comes in various 3 tiers, and you have to unlock it by playing certain tanks, certain vehicles. So this BMP3 tier 6, I can unlock the 3rd tier augmented optics, which improve my vision range. So that's a way of getting you to play all the tanks. Well, perhaps not all, but most of the tanks, in order to get the retrofit that you want. And with your retrofits, here we are, you can modify the performance of your tank. You can modify the armour, firepower, mobility, technology. It's nice. You get to customise your tank a bit. Get it to play more the way you want it to. But it means the experienced players who played a lot and done all the different vehicles, especially the higher tier vehicles, have an edge over the people who have just started playing, because you can you can only unlock these tier 3 versions of the retrofits on the higher level tanks, tier 6, but you can put them in. Can you put them in tier 1s? Does he have a retrofit? No, tier 1 didn't have a retrofit. Tier 2s. Starting at tier 2, you can start putting the retrofits. So If you come straight into this game and you start playing your level 150, you're at a disadvantage against me, who's gone and unlocked the Mark 1 armour. Where did I unlock it from? Somewhere. So, is that bonus overall? Is it bonus? Yeah, it makes the game more interesting. Although a bit harder for newbies, I think. Yeah. Overall, I'd say, yeah, it's good. More interesting. More variation. There we go. Mention the armour. Crew. Crew. You get a crew that stays with the vehicle. They go from tier 1 to 5 with experience, and then you buy skills as they go up their experience levels. But the commanders, you choose which commander goes in which vehicle, and they go from tank to tank with no penalties. 5 tiers, choose a different skill at each tier. And then there are different types of commanders, and you unlock them as you progress through the different vehicles or different achievements. And they have different skills. So you can customize your vehicle's performance by changing the commander. So this guy's more damage, more accuracy. She's better camouflage, better view range. Which, quite fun. More interesting. And you don't get penalised from swapping them from vehicle to vehicle. So you can play your chieftain and then take him along and put him back in the T64 and play the T64 without being penalised for it. Consumables. Consumables are just little extras you buy for credits and shove them in a tank to make it go better or repair itself. Or this one can only work in PvEs. You get more of your hit points back. Oh, repairing. When you're repairing your tracks or your wheels, they don't get repaired over time. They get repaired whilst you're stationary over time, which is a nice touch. Notifications tells you all sorts of things. How you did in your battles, when your friends have come online or offline, or sent you a message, blah blah blah, medals you've unlocked, credits, tanks, blah blah, other stuff. Let's have a look at battle reports. So, summary, how you did against your team. Ooh, not very well on that one. Let's look at a different one. Ignore that last one. It's better. Yeah, that's much better. There you go. How you did against the rest of your teammates. This is a player versus enemy. So there's only 5 of us. In the PvP you get 15 of us and 15 of them. And then the details. Exactly what you did. And what you got rewarded for. So if you really want to maximise your reputation and your currency rewards, you can work out how to do it. Because it tells you what you earned reputation and currency for. Very detailed, nice. What is not detailed is missions. They've just started doing. Have they just started? I think they've just started doing missions, but there's no mission report anywhere in the game client. You have to go to the website and log in, and then look at your profile. Because at the moment there's a mission running. Win 150 PvP battles within the month, earn a premium vehicle reward. Yay! But you don't know how far you've gone within the game. You have to go to the website and it'll tell you how far you got along. So it's work in progress. That obviously isn't ideal. Mentioned a base dossier. That's just your statistics. You can look at other people's statistics as well if they unlock it, and you can let only your friends, or allow anybody to look at your dossier. All the information about how you're doing. Done the battle reports. That's pretty much. Oh, camouflage. Same camouflage and decals as well the tanks. Choose the camo, put it on, paint it on, buy it for 7 days for credits, or buy it for gold. There. Worthwhile doing if you're in this reconnaissance game. 50% better camo rating, but it seems to be quite expensive. Quite expensive credit-wise. And I get the feeling, I haven't really checked the numbers, but it feels like the economics of the game are harsher than one of the tanks. At the starting about tier 5, tier 6, really starts to bite. The amount of reputation you have to earn and the amount of currency you have to earn to finish upgrading the tank and unlock the next one goes up exponentially. It goes up a lot. Your first 5 tiers are easy enough to go through. Tier 6s, they start to bite. It starts to bite. That's just a general feeling. Do I enjoy this game? Is it a good game? Yes, it's a good game. I enjoy playing it. I'll certainly be playing more of it. Is it better or worse than World of Tanks? It's much the same. Very much the same format. And it's better in some places and worse in others. There's definitely a work in progress. The player versus environment missions, they definitely need work. A lot of work. I want to see lots more different missions, lots and hundreds of them. In fact, if you're watching this, Obsidian, release a mission editor to the players, let them do all the hard work and come up with the missions, and you can't be that. Is it going to be? Nah, it's not that difficult. It's not like you're making new maps, just where the enemies spawn and where they drive on, and that's the other thing you've got to fix about them. The spawning. I hate the spawning. You must have the tanks, enemy vehicles spawn out of sight. I mean, spawning in front of your eyes, that was unacceptable 20 years ago in computer games. Atrocious that you're doing it now. Overall, this Armoured Warfare, it gets a Dangerously Incompetent thumbs up.